Guess what? We're live.
Hey, guess what? It's Just the Sky Kid. It's Thursday night. We're at the B&B. This is a night of the round table.
Gift points.
And on the phone with us this evening is Ebro from Albany, New York. Hello, Ebro.
Hi, Jess. Hi, gang. How's it going?
Woo, we're good. I'm super excited now to talk to you. So before we start, let's talk about you, who you are, what it is you do. You sent us an email. We listened to what you sent us. It's really cool. And then I went and read like your little bios and stuff, and you describe yourself as a dance musician, which is new to me. So talk a little bit about that. How long have you been a performing artist? What art is it that you perform, and how does this dance musician tag come to be?
So I've been performing since elementary school. I would say that my field of expertise for the majority of my life was classical music and musical theater. I did that all the way up into high school, and then I moved to New York City. And I attended AMDA, the American Musical and Dramatic Academy. And that was a conservatory for musical theater where basically all I did was breathe, music, dance, and act. And it was a really intensive course or school. And then after I graduated college from AMDA, I was pretty much at a crossroads because every artist, either you're mainstream or not, and I was basically told in school, like, hey, you're kind of a character actor and you're not going to work until you're 40. And I was like, that's the problem because how am I going to pay my bills? And so I decided to create my own art, and I've always gotten so much joy out of making people laugh or feel good about themselves or have a good time because I want people to forget their daily woes. So I started writing like dance pop music. So think like 90s house mixed in with like top 40s, with a little bit of 80s flair. There are slight influences of like synth pop, but it's not completely like synth pop. So it's kind of my own mixture, if you say, and basically it's electronic dance music, but it's more on the pop side. So I just call it dance music because that's what you're supposed to do. It's music that makes you dance.
It does that. Ice Queen was what we played on Tuesday, and I'm just dancing along, and as it's going, I'm like, I'm sorry, my friend, but it's cocaine music. I need a disco ball and a little spoon. We in the club, and that's what's happening. But it is very, and even though that was a dark song, it was a very energized dark. Like, it made me think of, being in a club and wearing a flowy dress and having a good time. So how is it that you go about creating your music? Do you have a band? Do you work in collaboration with a group of people, or is this all just you?
So for the most part, I write the lyrics. I have a general idea of a melody. I work with a sound engineer. His name is Tim Lynch at the recording company out in Esperance, New York. We recorded all three of my EPs together. So oftentimes I'll have an idea or a concept for a song, and I'm like, hey, listen, Tim, here's the words, here's kind of the melody, here's my idea, and it'll kind of fuse all my crazy ideas, and we just come up with a song. So it is a collaborative effort, and I really enjoy working with him. He normally records like jam bands and bro rock, I guess. And I no disrespect, but that's really what it is. And he does a lot of recording actually for death metal bands and hardcore. So he records a lot. But I was one of the very few people that I was like, hey, I need your help. Let's create something from scratch. Because oftentimes he will just record people and their parts. So it's a collaborative effort, and I hopefully someday soon our collab will bear some fruit.
So how did you come to find him and select him to be your sound engineer that you were going to work with?
So I was working at Spencer's, and my supervisor, Katie, she was in a death metal band and took me to my first death metal show. And I knew nothing about the genre, and I knew nothing about screening. And she's like, yeah, you want to come to the studio? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, aren't you a singer? And I was like, yeah. And I had just graduated AMDA. And we met, and I was like, hey, Tim, what do you feel? And he's like, listen, dude, you're different. I would love to work with you. And we've been friends ever since. I've known him for 10 years. Wow. He lives like 45 minutes away from me, and he used to come up. He would used to drive down from his house and pick me up and take me to the studio. So, I have so much respect for that man and so much, love for him, because he really did help develop me as an artist and really did believe in me, because most people would be, about the money. Mm-hmm. And, oh, you can't get to the studio? Well, sorry, I can't work with you. Mm. Or there's I will charge you gas. And he really did enjoy the art, and that's why I continued working with him, because it wasn't just a paycheck.
So, if you've been working with him for 10 years, how long have you been doing this? You're known, as far as your music and where people can find you, as Ebro Music. So how long has that been around?
So I had 2 Instagrams. One of them just got hacked.
Oh.
So my original Instagram got hacked, and I can't log into it to save my life. So I just started a new one, which is Ebro_music, and I just launched my official website earlier this year. I find that I'm not the strongest at social media. It's just not my thing, Jess. I grew up in the age of where, our parents pushed us to go outside and make friends. Yeah. So I don't want to say that I'm not tech savvy. I know how to use Instagram, and I know how to use Twitter and Facebook. But I should have learned how to utilize those platforms earlier than I did. But with that being said, I grew up in the mentality or the train of thought of, you have to book shows, you have to network with other artists. That's how you get known. You don't get a manager offline. So many artists now, become famous just by posting a viral video, like Doja Cat did the song Be I'm a Cow. Just as a parody, and she became famous, and look at her now, Another person, what's her name? Cardi B started really online, on Instagram, and she did get on a TV show. What's her name? She sings, I'm going to remember it in a second, but there's a lot of artists that have made it just based on Instagram, or Twitter or Facebook, or just some kind of video that they put out going viral. So, I was not part of that vein. I was part of the vein that you got to hustle, and go out into the streets. Now, I'm not saying that method doesn't work, but more people than not need to focus on their social media, because where they're lacking, they might have the best music in the world, but if no one knows about it, it's hard. It's hard. So, Ebro Music has been around for a while. How effective it is a different story.
Have you asked for help, or since as a musician, all right, musicians will go out of their way to find the best, say, beats, mixes, instruments, sound recorder, engineer, etc. Have you gone out of your way to try to find somebody to help you, friend-wise, put more of an understanding into social media presence?
So right now, so one thing that I faced a lot, Jess, was, so I live in upstate New York, in
Yes.
the Albany area, and I am the only one that does what I do. Now, pop music is all over the world. There's so many people that do electronic dance music or pop music, so I'm not the only one. But I'm the only one locally. Locally, the artists we have some kind of like, we have rock, we have metal, we have hardcore, but there's no artist. And when I say by artist, like a soloist who is an artist. So it's very difficult. So I know a bunch of musicians, but they're like, we love you, Ebro, but we can't book you for our show because where are we going to put you?
That's poppycock. Sorry.
And then when it comes to sound engineers, there are a few locally, but I've reached out to some of them, and they're like, listen, bud, you're doing great. We're just not a fit. Or I did try to work with a guy down in New York City, and basically he ran off with my money.
Oh.
So I paid him up front like $300, and he sent me the track, and I sang on it, and he was like, I don't like it. And I said, well, why don't you like it? And he said, you were singing too much. And I was like, huh?
What?
I was like, wait a minute, what? And he just didn't like the way I vocalized. He just didn't like the way that I sang the song. And I was like, okay. You knew this when you like reached out to me and said like, hey, I'd like to work with you. And he basically just stopped responding. And from last I heard, I believe he got deported because he was not he didn't file his papers or something properly. But I gave him a chance. He came highly recommended to me.
Oh.
So I get nervous working with new people.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I keep on going back with him, and it's kind of a good relationship. But yeah, other artists locally like support me, but it's more or less like they can't book me on their shows.
Okay.
So oftentimes, Jess, what I do is I host my own shows.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that it's pretty sad. Like I try to get musicians that are close or similar. But a lot of times what I'll do is there's 2 gay clubs in Albany, Rocks and Waterworks. So what I'll do is I'll just host there
Mm-hmm.
and put on my own shows, or I'll bring my friends. I have a lot of friends who are drag queens because I make a lot of their outfits because I sew and I make costumes. So I'll be like, girls, come and do a show. So I'll sing, they'll perform, and oftentimes I gotta say we do a lot better at straight venues. Mm-hmm. When I say straight venues, I mean not locally known to be a gay bar or a gay club. I mean, obviously they're gay friendly, but we do really, really well in straight venues because we are so different. And I find that people pay, I don't want to say like more attention, but they appreciate us a lot more in a straight venue because at a gay club, they're like, oh, that queen. I saw her last week. Or, oh, it's Ebro singing again. So the audience is very different and the energy is very different. Mm-hmm. And I've kind of always had this mentality, if I'm not going to, like, if it's not going to come to me, I'm going to go get it. So, oh, you're not going to book me for your show? Well, guess what? I'm going to put on my own show.
Hey, that's exactly what we do preach and admire here on our show. So good job for being innovative and paving your own path, because sometimes that's exactly what it takes.
Right.
But as a solo artist, obviously, in my mind, in New York, the city I can see being more of a fit. But yeah, how far are you from Canada, and do you have more, do you think, of an opportunity if you were to cross the border?
So I think I'm not that far. Like, I think Montreal is like 3 hours.
Right.
I definitely feel like there might be a market there, but I don't know anybody there. Obviously, I should do like my research and find out live music venues and send like my EPK. But I think a lot of clubs and venues, they look to social media. If you don't have 10, 20, 30,000 followers, they're going to be very nervous on booking a talent that only has 200 Instagram followers.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter whether or not they think, your music is worth it or not. And I hate to say it, like, I don't want to say that the music industry is not about the music, but it's also about making money. Because I don't know if you've experienced this, but there's a lot of seedy companies out there that prey on artists.
Yeah.
I don't want to name names, but there are companies out there that are like, oh, we want to put you in a show, but you have to sell X amount of tickets, and if you don't, then one, your set time is cut shorter, your placement in the set, like in the show, like your time slot is subject to change, and then you won't be invited back. So a lot of times artists are like, oh my God, I can't get booked. This is my only way how. So they'll buy 10 tickets or the minimum amount of tickets, and then you just spent $150 to perform.
Yep. It's crime. It's a crime. I think that it should be illegal. I think that's a bunch of bullshit. No artist should ever have to pay, in my opinion, to play or release their music because it goes against what a job is. Art is a job, in my opinion, and just like a trade job, such as a cement mason, a bricklayer, a drywaller, a carpenter, those people don't show up to their client's house and pay them to do the estimate. It's kind of the same thing in the music industry. So I'm very much a supporter of utilizing contacts, making sure that there is a collaborative effort being made. Like you said that you kind of get pushed out, that you have friends who are in bands that support you but wouldn't book you. So we, in Kenosha, Wisconsin, I would say, have a lot of mixed genre shows, and we kind of have the hip-hop community to credit for this because they were sick of being singled out as to only being able to play at one venue, and they had friends in other groups that they decided, why not show that we can do these mixed genres? In Chicago, we have a bunch of solo artist friends that have worked with either punk or rock groups, and they've done like genre like combos. So artists that are either their own selves or like a hip hop group who are working with a punk collab, and they're making a mixtape together, and it's been really interesting to see because I feel like those bigger cities have that issue going on, and I'm sorry, like your story is kind of breaking my heart. I'm glad you found us. We're gonna help you.
Thanks. No, I appreciate it. Like, so speaking of how I found you.
Yes.
This was super random. I was very frustrated. I spoke to my partner. I was like, babe, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm stuck in Albany for the time being. And I'll tell you why in a minute. And quarantine has got me down. I can't book a gig. I was really sad. I was actually doing Instagram Live, and the last Instagram Live show that I was doing, my JBL speaker that I bought secondhand though, but it cost me a bit of money. It was giving me back so much feedback. I checked the wire was fine. The microphone was like fine. So I was wearing some chains. So I was like, well, maybe that's causing it. Took the chains off, singing in the middle of the song. I sounded like a plane taking off. I was like, okay. So I couldn't even do that. Like, I couldn't even, like, perform. because everything is closed. And even though that some of the stores have opened up again, the guy that fixes speakers is not working. So I'm like, okay. So I couldn't even do that.
Oh.
So this ad keeps popping up, like literally every 2 seconds, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, and it's by this girl, lady, and her name is Kristen Morella. And she's like, are you an artist and you're bored at home and don't know what to do during quarantine? Well, I'm here to help you. Instead of sitting on your butt, yada, 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 here's a list of 8,000 contacts. And I'm like, wow, this is what I needed. Like, how did you know? Like, in my mind, I was like, Facebook is watching me.
Google knows. Google does know it's creepy. Anyway.
Yeah. So, literally for 2 weeks, Jen, 2 weeks, this damn ad keeps on coming up in variants of it. Her and her blonde, half pink wig at the hair. And I'm like, oh my. And I'm like, listen, lady, this is too good to be true. Like, this is, at this point, it's annoying. And like, it said originally $129 on sale for $20. And I'm like, okay, I get it. So I said, I literally heed and hawed over this for like 3 weeks. And I was like, this is a scam. And I'm about to lose $20. Like, but I was like, at least it's only $20. So I purchased the list. And I'm reading the list. So it has radio stations, college radio stations. It has independent music blogs, and other various like publications. So, and she like kind of put it all out, and all their information is there. And it's also by genre. So the first part of the list, I haven't even gotten through the whole list. I've emailed about 250 people, roughly. And some people have gotten back to me. Some of a lot of the emails don't work, or the publications no longer exist. So at this point, I'm sending all these emails out, and the emails are bouncing back. Or, hey, sorry, our publication is no longer in service. And we haven't been in service since 2017.
Oh, damn.
Or even older. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh, God. This list is just some kind of BS. I did click, like, there's links to the website. And there's links to Facebook and Instagram of each site that she has listed. Now, with that being said, I would say I would tread lightly, because what I found was, again, most of the emails don't work. Some of the sites don't even exist anymore. And some of the sites say, oh, you want us to review your music? Well, you have to submit it through Submit Hub, which means you have to pay or buy credit for someone to listen to your song and tell you whether or not it is good enough for them to put it on their playlist or a blog.
Oh.
And I was like, are you kidding me? Now, with that being said, I thought it was interesting. She did include publications from all over the world, which I thought was nice. And I would say 80% of them may at one time have been legit.
Oh my gosh, Ebro.
So I'm sitting here sending out these emails, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. This is cool. Some sites say, please don't submit anything. So in my mind, I'm like, why would you include this in your list? Also, one thing, I suck at grammar. Like, grammar is not my strong suit. But if I'm going to put something out there for people to read or use as a resource, I would hope that it's grammatically correct, because I noticed so many mistakes. It made me feel worse about my purchase, because it made me feel like I was getting scammed. Now, her ads are still popping up left and right. And I'm not mad at her in the sense of, like, girl, get your money. Like, if you're going to hustle, get your money, I guess. But at least deliver. And she like even said in the beginning, like, I wish I had it in front of me, but it was like, you should be happy if one of these people responds to you. That's a step in the right direction. And I was like, wait a minute. You list off 8,000 contacts, and you're saying we're lucky if one of them responds or does an article or something? You're selling 8,000 contacts. And she's like, these are industry contacts and blah, blah, blah. I wanted to be like, baby, what are you talking about? You did a Google search. That's what you did. You did a Google search.
But she didn't do a Boolean one. Her paper would be plagiarized and she would fail if most of that shit ain't real anymore. What the hell?
I just like, and also 8,000 contacts is really 4,985. So I was like, okay, so where are the other 4,000? The 4,000. It's ridiculous. So it was $20. I took a chance, and obviously that chance worked out for me because here we are.
I mean, so I am peeved a bit. I'm thankful you found us and that you were real. So my main platform is Facebook. I utilize that mostly because you can tell when a bot is a bot, you know? When
Right.
I get emails, like our email has blown up. I have people from all over the fucking world right now saying, hey, so and just the Ska Kid, can we please submit blah, blah, blah. Here's my EPK. Here's this, blah, all this other stuff. And I'm like, this has to be all scam stuff. This isn't real, right? So I started going through and I do my research. So when these artists send me things, before I click on any links, I Google them. I look and see if, oh no. I look and see if their Facebook's real. I look and see if that is a real, like, is this real? Do they have more than just one thing? And then I'll respond. Our platform is all about not paying anybody so that you can learn the tools necessary to help yourself get ahead. And we give all of our contacts for free because here in the underground, the people who are actually really doing this shit, we want to see artists succeed. So, you know, we have a select few other people that we work with that I can like refer you to who would do a show with you because we're trying to build this network all over the world that does this so that we can take back the music industry. Art is art and it's subjective to quote the Boulay brothers there. And it's not to be judged except for how it applies in this context currently. But I feel like you have really good music. It's fun. And I'm sorry that you're struggling so hard in New York, but we'll correct that. It is about using social media. You do have to be able to have a network of people that will help when you release something, say, on YouTube. They're pushing that forward. They're sending likes to your page. The more that you create this footprint, it's called metadata. And so what Google is doing is writing a code that says this person is significant and relevant. So if I type in dance musician, it should pop you up if enough people have helped support you. And that's free. People should be doing that for free. And I know that all of the different humans who have come across our paths, like, we've worked with so many different people who will go out and support everybody else because we're all trying to do the exact same thing. So for a platform that really preaches not to like pay for things, this bitch using our name and getting paid, she getting an email.
Yeah, I'm going to send you, I'll send you her information for sure. So here's my thing, right? I try to do unto others as I'd have that, treat people how I want to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was always told, oh, you're unique, you're different. And the reality is, I was a very flamboyant child who was morbidly obese and had too much charisma and character for one person. I've always wanted to support unique or just artists in general because I've wanted that support given back to me. For example, here in Albany, it's very interesting. I just shot a music video, and I asked the director, I said, is this just me? I wanted 15 people to show up to be extras in a scene. I have almost over 2,000 friends on Facebook, and a lot of them are in the area. And I've literally helped, maybe with the exception of like 5 new baby queens, I've helped so many of the drag queens and the drag culture here with an outfit, a ride, food, like no questions. I rarely ever charge anybody for an outfit. I'm like, hey, listen, you need something done, I'll do it for you. Just buy the fabric, you know. Oh, you need a lift to the show? Cool. I'm not even in the show, and I'm driving 2 hours to take people to, like, Syracuse. So when I can't get 15 people just to stand in the background and look like they're having a good time for 30 minutes, that's really heartbreaking.
Right.
You know? Or I go to all these shows, and you can't come to my EP release show. Now, I know I'm sounding like a bitter Betty, but this is just what I've experienced. I released Feel Me out in October. Mm-hmm. I promoted it. I put signs up. I invited people personally. I made sure to host it in a place that could have 18 and up because I actually work in the local cosplay scene, like in the tri-state area, and I help run a cosplay club too. This is all for free. We run panels and we host like safe environment events. So I have a lot of young fans, so I wanted to make sure that they would be able to come. And I was just amazed at the people that showed up. People I haven't spoken to in 3 years, you know, showed up. But people that I've helped recently, or I took them to shows or whatever, couldn't even bother to say, have a good time. I hope you kill it tonight. So that's really disheartening, especially from a community that you feel like you should be accepted and a part of. Like, I am a gay male. I identify as a gay male, you know, and my community couldn't even come out for me, which was really sad. And I understand, like, I'm not a drag queen, and I would say that, like, a lot of gay pop culture, when I say gay club culture, sorry, let me just change that. Gay club culture. They really live for their queens, and queens are wonderful. But, like, what about your gay artists that are singers? What about, like, Sam Smith, Adam Lambert, Frank Ocean? Don't they deserve your appreciation, too? You know, your love, too? And I find that a lot of times the gays, I say that with quotation marks, they don't see it for them, or they just don't care. You know, but if you're Beyonce or Britney, yes, bitch, work, girl. Okay, what about your own? You know, what about Ebro? Like, hey, I just, you know, so I find it's very selfish here in Albany, and why I bring that up is because I was asking the director, I was like, hey, bud, do you deal with this? Because he's also an artist who shot my music video. Great guy, and he said to me, Ebro, it's the area. He said, had you shot this music video in New York City, you would have had 100 people. Yeah. You would have had 100 people easy, down, that just wanted to be in a music video and have that experience. He's like, it's just the area. And I don't disagree from my experience. Now, with that being said, there's an underground punk scene that's wonderful here. You know, my boyfriend's a punk, and he actually works in a lot of the venues here in Albany. And he's really been a godsend. Like, I really do appreciate the work that he's put in by trying to book me shows, or like he built my website, you know. And speaking of like social media, one of the things that we've been working on is making sure that I'm more visible, so that I'm posting more content, more pictures on Instagram. Like, I really love fashion, so I'll put my outfits together, and like we have a plan of like, you have to post at least like 3 fashion photos or whatever a week.
They're really, you know, good. Like, who's doing that? Who's taking those pictures?
His Instagram handle is he's a hardcore vegan punk who is an anarchist.
Of course it's quality work because he wants to prove something that the rest of you suck. No.
Well, it's more or less like he believes in like no man left behind, you know, and he's very much against capitalism. And he's like, I'm not saying this because he's my boyfriend. We're polar opposites. Like, I'm very much like glam rock. I'm very much, I don't want to say I'm a capitalist, but I'm like, ooh, you know, like, I didn't see the thing that he was talking about. You know, he's really opened my eyes to a lot of things. And I would say that he's a huge supporter of mine. And we recently purchased a camera. And he wants to start a YouTube channel where he does like media reviews, so actual physical copies of stuff, so records, CDs, cassettes. He's going to do reviews, and I like beauty tutorials and funny little comedic skits and stuff. So we've been working on that. We were actually filming some videos earlier today. And I'm like, at this point, it's now or never. Like, so you might as well just do it.
I mean, we're, you know, so I would say don't get downtrodden as far as community. I want to know why you're in Albany and why you don't try to relocate. But here's how I also view it. I hate being told no. Like, I am I'm going to do it. I'm going to prove you wrong. We're going to make this successful. So if anything, I would encourage you, even though it sucks, it hurts. It does hurt. You're like, I've put in all this work to help people. The whole turn the other cheek and just keep doing it to prove that you're better than other people. Success will come. I would say that aligning yourself with the underground punk community, and there's a ska community there as well, even though they are not your genre, would probably welcome you in and allow you to do a mixed genre show, which would help push your presence out there to other people. So
for sure, I definitely so my EP release show, a lot of punks actually showed up to it, which really warmed my heart. The guy who was doing the booking at that bar, his name is Jason Crack. Great guy, literally has been doing this for I think 30 plus years. He would try to find shows that I could fit in, and he's like, I'll always keep you in my thoughts. They did a charity show, Food.Bombs. He's part of that charity. I don't know if it's only here in Albany or if that's a global charity. And he, or in the sense of global, there's different chapters all over the United States or the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's basically run by punks. And it's a food pantry kind of thing.
Yep. And
he booked me for that, and it was a mixed show, and apparently people really enjoyed me. So there are some I'm touched again because I wasn't received the same way by my own community. But a guy, he heteronormative, straight, really butch was yeah, Ebro, come on and do a show, and I was okay, and he was very well aware of how, I don't want to say extra, but I have a big personality, and when I do a show, I don't just stand there and sing, I also host. So I'll crack jokes on the microphone. I really love engaging with the audience. I don't want to say I fuck with the audience, but I'll be oh, who's that? Oh, he's cute, girl. How long you been dating? That kind of thing, and it's very interactive.
Mm-hmm.
I really like to touch my audience. So, for me, if you're going to come to an Ebro show, you're going to have a damn good time. And if you paid money, you're going to get all the money that you, the ticket, you're going to get more than the ticket price. Because I want you to really forget all the bullshit. Leave it at the door. Get a drink if you drink. If not, sit back, enjoy the show, dance a little. I want you to, just kind of forget, because I know music helps me forget, or just like pass the time, or like have a good time. So like whatever it is, I think my biggest compliment that I ever got, this woman, she was like, I was having a terrible time, and I said, what's going on, hon? And she said, well, my boyfriend just left me, and I have nowhere to live, and this guy invited me for a drink to get my mind off of it. And I said, well, are you enjoying the show? And she said, I haven't thought about any of the bullshit I dealt with today.
Aww.
And she said, you just had me laughing. And I said, well, good. I said, the next shot is on me. So this is why I do it. Like, you know, I want you to feel good. Yeah, some of my songs are suggestive, you know, or whatever. You might not appreciate the content, but you'll appreciate that 4 on the floor, you know, that bass line, you know, that's going to make you dance. So to answer your question, sorry, about why I'm in Albany. So I was living in New York City. I graduated from AMDA. This was back in 2010 is when I graduated. And I had
you graduated 10 years after I did. Or 5. 5. I can do math. 5. Sorry, 5. I can do math.
I was about to say, aren't we similar in age? Like, I was like, what moisturizer are you using?
Baby's blood. Duh. You gotta kill them right when they come out. That's why abortion is great. Just kidding. Oh.
Oh, God. Now all the Christian right-wingers are going to come after us.
We didn't want that audience anyway. Whatever. I'm still more Jesus than they ever could be.
So I was in New York, and I was at the New School of General Studies, so I had transferred to get my bachelor's in performing arts and a minor in Japanese studies. And within the first semester of me transferring, it was 2 weeks before my finals were due. And my dad disowned me. And I was kind of stuck in New York City. I was like, I don't have a job, and rent is due in 2 weeks, and I have no money to get to the train. Like, my school was all the way at the other end of Manhattan. So I'm like, how am I supposed to get to school and feed myself and pay my rent and get a job in 2 weeks? So my parents got divorced when I was young, but they kept the home up here, and my mom got that in the court. So I moved back up here. Not to be all sad, but I was outed. So I moved back up here, and it was a very tumultuous situation. My parents are Muslim, and they are from Egypt. They immigrated from Egypt. So they are from the motherland. They're not first generation. They're not second generation. You know, they are from Egypt. And they are Muslim. And, you know, their religion teaches you that being gay is a sin. And if you don't raise your children right, that reflects badly on you when you go to the pearly gates.
Yep.
So I don't know how they didn't know, especially with, like, I mean, my mom from a young age used to make me pick out her bras and panties and clothes. So, like, hello. Like, how do you not know?
If you have anyone to blame, lady, it's yourself.
Right, I'm kind of like, well, you know, I played in your closet for too long, and now I'm out of it. And it just got really dark, Jess, and I don't condone this. I say this to all, you know, when I talk about this, I tell all my fans or just people that I have a conversation with, you know, reach out and talk to somebody, even if you feel like you have nobody to talk to. And it's gotten really bad to the point where I didn't think that I could get out. So a lot of people do this. I don't condone this, but I attempted to commit suicide. And while I was in the hospital, I was there for about a week, and the doctor he was also Middle Eastern, and had a stern talking to put it lightly, with my mom. At this point, my dad wasn't talking to me. And basically, he told my mom, he was like, your son doesn't deserve you being here, but you do. Basically things started to change after that. I won't say that the verbal abuse got better, but I learned to cope with it. And then my mom got sick. So this is, I don't want to say it's karma, because don't get me wrong, I love my mom and I miss her very much. She did end up passing. But for 2.5 years, I ended up taking care of her. And I'm not saying this to make myself look good. Like, that's my mom. Like, I don't know what I was supposed to do. I did try to get out twice, but I felt guilty because my brother had left, and my parents were divorced, and she was all by herself. So I didn't want to leave her to kind of wither. So I stayed and took care of her, and I felt like it was my obligation as her son, even though she had pushed me to the point of, like, attempting suicide. So music really helped me get through all of that. It's funny that you bring up Ice Queen is the song that you played, because that song is about her. So yeah, a lot of my music is inspired, honestly, by real events. So I got stuck in Albany, and shortly after she passed 7 years ago. So 6 years, so I would say 4 years ago, I was getting ready to leave. I had finished her estate, like everything was settled. The only thing we had to do was sell the house. And my brother had moved back from Kansas. And I went to go, I'm a diabetic, and I went to go get a blood test done. And my doctor was like, you need to go see a nephrologist. And I said, where? And he's like, yeah, your kidneys are failing. And I was like, excuse me?
Because of diabetes?
Yeah, so what happened, so they did a biopsy of my kidneys, and they basically told me that my kidneys are failing because of genetics and because of long exposure of uncontrolled diabetes. So, as far as I was aware with my doctor, my diabetes was not that bad to the point where my kidneys should fail. Like, it happens to a lot of patients in their 60s and 70s. At this point, my kidneys failed at the age of 27. So yeah, I've been on dialysis for the past a little over 3 years.
Wow.
So I'm kind of stuck. If you know anything about dialysis, it takes a lot out of you, and you have to get treatment for 3 times a week. So I spend on an average between 15 and 20 hours in a dialysis clinic.
Wow.
So it makes it hard to travel. I go Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And it makes it hard to relocate. And I thought about, like, moving to New York City, because you could do dialysis anywhere, but move back to New York City. But one, it's hard enough to survive New York City as a healthy person, let alone someone who is now disabled. Because after you get treatment, you're a vegetable. Like, you're exhausted, you feel drained, you're low energy, and it also takes up about 15 to 20 hours a week. Yep. So how are you going to sustain a full-time job, dialysis, and have a career, or attempt to have a career? So right now, I am currently in Albany, and the good news is I am on a list for transplant, but the average wait is between 4 and 5 years. Now, had I moved to New York City, the average wait is from 9 to 12 years. And it's because there are so many people on dialysis in New York City, but you got to think about the population. Right. So if there's more people on dialysis, the longer the list. I will say this. If this experience has taught me anything, you either, this is a make it or break it moment. And if I've survived this, I can do anything. This was a wake-up call. I was obese. I became obese when my parents got divorced, and I just never lost the weight or learned healthy coping mechanisms. I've lost 100 pounds, So I weigh about 160 now. So I was about 260 at my highest, which is crazy because people are like, that's not big. You never looked big. And I was like, you're big and my big are two different things. And that's when genetics come into play. Mm-hmm. So I don't wish this on anybody. But my goal is, okay, I may be stuck in Albany. That doesn't mean I can't produce good content. That doesn't mean I can't produce good music. And that doesn't mean I can't build a following. Yep. So that's what I've been trying to really push for. And making music is expensive. Like, even if you get like a reduced rate, putting the music out there, getting the album art made, getting merchandise printed, it all costs money, which I understand because you're investing in your product. But there comes a point where I personally feel, correct, let me know what you think. There comes a point where it's like, I need to get some kind of return on investment, or I don't know if I can continue doing this. Yep. Because remember, I don't play an instrument. My instrument is my voice. Mm-hmm. And I have to pay a sound engineer. It's not like he's doing it for free, but like he's obviously cutting me a deal and we're friends. But, that still costs money,
Yep. So who does your art then?
So this past EP, a good friend of mine from the convention circuit, I met her 11 years ago at a cosplay meetup. Her name is PB Art Illustrations. I can also link her Instagram to you after we get off. I told her, listen, I want this kind of 80s vibe, and she's like, I got you. So she did my last EP. And then the previous EP for Private Affair, she did the graphics on top of a photo. A friend of mine took that photo. And then my first EP, Penny also did the writing on it, but another friend of mine took that photo. So the first two were friends. The second one, Penny did the full art. I absolutely love it. I have stickers made of it. She draws like a mini kind of like anime character of me. I call it Chibi Ebro. I have Halloween stickers, a gay pride sticker, a Christmas sticker. So I have a bunch of merchandise. I have keychains and pillows and stuff. So
Wait, time out. You have what? You have pillows?
Yeah. I have these little plush pillows with the character on it. I got them off of they're super cute. I got them off of Alibaba or AliExpress, the one where you can like contact a manufacturer out in China.
Yeah.
And they would produce it for you. So like I would save my money, to get these things made. So like I got like 30 pillows for like, it cost me about $150. And then I got 200 CDs printed through CD Baby. Obviously is a super known brand, company that a lot of musicians use to publish their music. And then the keychains I got from another manufacturer out there in China. And then not locally, but he's in the States. The guy who does my stickers. He gives me a great rate. He's also from the convention circuit. So it's crazy. To create my music, I pull from all different circles.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So,
let's go through what merch do you have available? You got stickers, you got pillows.
Yes, I have stickers, pillows, keychains, as well as my physical EP.
Okay. And it's the Feel Me EP, yeah?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Which I gotta say, each EP that I've written, obviously I have a soft spot for, but I will say this Feel Me is, I don't want to say my greatest work because I don't feel like I've put out my greatest work, or at least I hope not. But it is a testament to the progress that Tim and I have made. did you get a chance to listen to it?
No, we're gonna listen to it tonight. I had to go back and read through, so I'm horrible. Okay, like with this, you talk.
No, you're fine.
No, you talk about like how social media isn't your thing. Well, I'm really just like a hodgepodge of like knowledge. Like I'm really smart and I'm really good at researching things and then like telling people how to do that. And then like the application of it, I'm okay. And then when we get to like my phone, which is what we do this whole show off of a phone, I look back through my emails and I'm like, I don't know, it's lost. So after Tuesday's show, I like shut down, restarted, went through, and I went to the very first email and I was like, wow, it's right there. I'm a genius. Ah! So I have found it now and we will play it this evening. But I listened to some of your other stuff on SoundCloud through that link you sent me. And it's just really fun music.
Yeah, as I said, I wanted people to have a good time. Like, I also like one thing about creating, I guess, pop music is that it needs to be memorable and catchy. And I try to do that with some songs more than others. You know, for example, like the chorus to Feel Me is like, feel me through the galaxy and beyond. Feel me searching for that one true bond. You know, it's really easy to like memorize, you know, and if it rhymes, it's easier to remember. And I like playing along with different themes. For example, like Feel Me is about a space captain who's looking for love throughout the whole galaxy. And it doesn't matter how far he has to travel, he will find it. And it's a love song, and it's about somebody that's yearning for love. But I try to put it in a different perspective, a fun perspective, because in my mind, everything has been done, everything has been sung, everything. So what's going to make it different? Well, the fact that you're doing it is making it different. You're putting your own essence on it. So I try to tell a story, and I think that also comes from my musical theater background.
Well, I'm excited to play, you know, the things you sent me in the email, one, but also the things on SoundCloud, too. But I want to get to that since we've now reached the top of the hour, and I know I'm keeping you past your bedtime. So where can people find you so that we can direct traffic to where you want folks to listen to your music? Where you be at online, bro?
Don't listen. I'm on Spotify. If you just look up Ebro, Feel Me, you'll find my music. I'm also on SoundCloud. But you can find like my content and when I post on Instagram. My Instagram handle is Ebro. So my name, EBRO _music. It's super easy. There is another one. Don't add that one. It's Ebro _music. And I do have a Facebook page. Like, please feel free. I post on there too. But I try to post like on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I am on Twitter. I think it's at Ebro Music. So I wish all of the handles were the same, but unfortunately my Instagram got hacked. So
how did you come up with the name Ebro? Is that your name?
So yes.
Okay.
So my legal name is Ibrahim,
Ibrahim.
which is basically Abraham, but the North African or Muslim way of saying it. And so racism is alive and well. And I've been going by Ebro because prejudices. But not only that, when you go to a school and there's like 8 Ibrahim, like, you have to come up with a way to stand out. So I've been called Ebro since the 2nd grade.
Nice.
And I know there's a guy, I think on the radio, Ebro in the Morning.
So I wanted to ask, March or April, I think it was, we had discovered a documentary that discussed this whole underground punk movement in the Muslim scene. And it was very interesting that it created its own genre. And we had this group out of Chicago who found us and was like, holy shit, nobody knows what this music is. You found us. Because these people still practice. It's just, they've taken their religion back for themselves, basically, and are practicing the principles that they like, as opposed to being forced to practice as, I would say, a traditional Muslim. Are you still practicing? Have you lost your faith, or have you just decided to interpret and perceive it the way that you feel works with your energy?
So for me, how do I put this? I do believe in God. I personally, it's hard for me, Jess, with the amount of hatred that I faced from Islam. And so many times my dad would drag me to Friday prayer. And I used to have long hair. And he'd be like, your hair's a problem. What you're wearing is a problem. This a problem. And people would stare at me. I did live in Egypt for 10 years, and I stood out like a sore thumb. I went to an international school in Egypt. It was an American school. So a lot of times people thought I was a foreigner because I didn't look like a traditional Egyptian person or a person from Egypt. But because of what I faced, obviously I have stepped away from the Islamic faith. Do I think it's a beautiful religion? Yes. But I think any religion, honestly, is beautiful. It's what you do with it or how you interpret it. I don't think Islam preaches hate. I personally don't feel that way. Or, Christianity or Judaism, I just feel like people preach hate.
They do.
And it's just really sad. I remember I would sit there with my dad while, the Muslim preacher, essentially, would be giving the sermon before Friday prayer or the prayers. And a lot of times it was so much hatred, towards gay people. And it just really bothered me. I was like, and growing up and hearing that affects you because you're like, well, what's wrong with me?
Right.
Like, am I really this bad thing? This horrible person? I do good to, people. I don't lie. I don't do this. I don't do that. And I'm going to burn in hell. Why? Because I like men? How is this fair? And if you say God created everybody, then why would you create me and then condemn me? That's not fair. And this wasn't a choice. So, needless to say, I'm very respectful of Islam and cultural differences. I don't, by the way, me and my dad have made up. I'm still closeted. I'm still closeted, whatever. He's 74, and I'd like him to die happy. And he lives in Egypt, so it's really not that big of a deal.
Okay.
It's kind of one of those things, out of sight, out of mind. Now, some people are like, well, that's not fair to you. And I understand that. But I would still like to have my father a part of my life. And if it's really not that big of an inconvenience, do you know what I'm saying, Jess? Then it's not an issue. So
I've had that conversation too, as like, at what point am I the bigger person who is comfortable enough with myself to say I don't have to be out all of the time to everybody, but I still can maintain my own identity because I'm comfortable with who I am.
Right, and the reality is coming out is a beautiful thing. You should be free. But one, you should be ready. Two, is it safe? Like, I've had friends of mine disappear because their families either murdered them or made them disappear. Like, this is no joke. People are like, well, you should be free. I was like, you realize gay people are still being prosecuted in so many countries around the world, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you know this, right?
Well, I know this because I pay attention and I know these things.
You know, like, no one's talking about Russia. That's still a thing. That's still a thing.
Like, most of their parliament are Nazis. Like, legit.
So,
like, they've brought that back in. They're like, there's been a few documentaries that have shown the progression of the establishment again of the Third Reich that they're calling the Fourth Reich. And guess what? They pay for our presidential election. That isn't like a conspiracy. That's fucking real. Sorry.
yeah, well, I don't disagree with you. The other thing, too, is, you know, like, there's so much homosexuality in the Middle East and North Africa, it's not even fun. Like, it's everywhere. But the fact that, like, we're still being prosecuted for it, like, that's not okay. Like, no. And progress has been made in some countries, like Lebanon. But Lebanon has always been progressive. You know, 1 out of 20 is not. We need to do better. But again, the other part of me, Jess, I live there. So I understand why people feel the way that they feel. It's not right. You know, I kind of feel it's important when people look at these things to look at it from like an anthropology kind of way.
Yep.
Okay, it's very different than your culture. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just different. But when it comes to human rights issues, that's where it's tricky, you know. And people are like, well, how could you still talk to your dad after what he did to you? And I was like, okay, I could never talk to him again and say, you know what, you're a terrible parent. You did this, and this to me. I'm never going to heal, and I don't want to hold on to that. And fundamentally, I know my dad and a lot of people that are anti-gay aren't bad people. They just don't know better. Or they were, like, it's ingrained. My dad's 74. I'm not going to change his mind. Like, it's just not going to happen.
Yep.
You know, so I can be the bigger person. You know, if he's around, I mean, I don't really change. People are like, do you change? And I was like, not really. I'm still funny, campy myself. I'm just maybe not so flamboyant outwardly, like with makeup or clothes or whatever. And I may have a girlfriend or two come over and pose as my most recent girlfriend or something, but it makes him happy, and he doesn't live here. So for me, it's a win-win,
right.
You know? Also, our parents know. Like, if anybody is like, oh, my parents didn't know. No, they know. Like,
they just don't want to acknowledge. Yeah.
Right. And if he wants to live in the clouds, then Dad, live in the clouds. Like, you know. But some places, it's really bad. Like, I have a couple of friends who have seeked asylum here in the United States because they were getting prosecuted by the Egyptian police. Whoa. And they were getting death threats. And it's no joke. Like, your parents could literally chop you up into bits, put you in the desert, and not be prosecuted for it because they were doing you a favor.
Right. They were saving you.
Right.
Right.
So.
Well, I have to say, Ebro, I am thankful that you are still alive moderately well and kicking it. And that you're continuing to progress through all of the hardships, it would seem. You know, I guess all of them tests just to continue to push yourself, maybe. I don't give up doing what you're doing, even if you're in Albany. I do think you should change direction and try to focus more on the underground punk scene and making sure that your socials, whatever, are really, you know, well done. Share and make sure that people know about, you know, the Spotifys, the Instagram, whatchamacallit. If you are on CD Baby, then I'm sure it's on YouTube as well because it pushes it on all the major platforms. Take pictures, goddammit, of your merch and post that shit because I looked through all your pictures and I didn't see much merch. I watched your eyebrow video though, and I'm like, these boys' eyebrows are amazing.
Oh, thank you. I get them threaded. They hurt like a bitch.
You had just gotten that done like a couple weeks ago, and you had posted that video, or that's when I saw it, and I was like, ooh.
Yep.
So
yeah, I like to have a good time, you know.
I'm glad that you see the brightness now through all of that. In closing, Ebro, what do you want people to know?
About me or just in general?
About you. This is about you.
I'm not used to this. So listen, what I want people to know is if you want to have a little bit of fun and you want to dance or just get your mind off of something, come and visit me on Instagram or listen to my music. I really do appreciate the support. You know, and like you said, I'm not giving up. So
wonderful.
I'm here.
Yay! So, quick. Do you have any plans to release any other music coming up?
So funny, I'm releasing a music video for the song "Got to Move," and I'm hitting the studio next Tuesday.
Wonderful. So when you do have so you're always welcome on our platform to post all of your stuff. So feel free to post all of those things. Send me stuff if you're like, hey Jess, this just came out. Can you please share this? I'll do that too. Doing it both ways, then the people who see like the visitor posts can see your stuff, and the people who watch on the other side can see my things. And so we'll continue to do that. Take pictures of your merch and post it on our page.
Thank you. I will. I'm actually gonna after we get off the phone with one another, I'm gonna send you all those information that I told you I was gonna send you.
Wonderful, because I already have something drafted in my mind to send you so that you can start circulating to real contacts so that you can be on other shows too. Ebro, it's been such a pleasure getting to talk with you this evening. Thank you.
Likewise. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Have a wonderful evening. Rest up and have a great day. Tomorrow I know is dialysis for you then, if it's a Friday. So be well and relax tomorrow.
All right. Thank you so much, Jess. Bye, guys.
Bye. Ebro Music. Check him out on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, here on our show. So, I'm not kidding. We've had such an influx of what I feel is fake emails, but I guess not, because somebody's making these people buy a fucking list with our name on it. What the fuck? As soon as he sends me that, she will get an email. Because if you're going to charge money, I want money off of my own name because I'm real and I can help these people. Anyways, share our videos, like our page, tell your friends to come our way because we're not a bunch of bullshit. We're not going to charge you $20. We do have contacts and we will help disperse your music out there into the world. Phenomenal story. Wonderful to meet this human being. His music is very fun, and after a short break, we'll be right back. Get your dancing shoes on. I don't know if it needs to be a little bit colder. Get your snowshoes ready and get ready to dance. Here on Just the Ska Kid after a short break, okay?
Thanks.
Bye.